Welcome to Today of All Days, episode 101.
Henry. Today is that our flag was still there Thursday, September 14th, 2017. And today is...
Eat a Hoagie Day! Back in 1953, workmen in a Philadelphia shipyard called Hog Island became known for their sandwiches. They would stuff bread rolls with just about everything. The sandwiches became known as Hog Islands or Hoagies, and finally, Hoagies.
There is another theory, however, and this theory dates back to 1879. Bakeries in Philly began selling long bread rolls modeled after a submarine. Street vendors, or hokey pokey men, sold them as Hoagies, which later became Hoagies.
Makes sense. As much as a hokey pokey man can. Another theory claims that the hoagie originated from a phrase used at the time to describe someone who was down on their luck. This phrase, on the hoke, evolved into hokey, as local Philadelphia restaurants gave their day's scraps to those who needed them.
No matter what the origin story is, they all lead back to Philadelphia, except for the one that actually points to Chester, Pennsylvania.
But we don't talk about that one.
And that brings us to...
Today in History. In 1814, Francis Scott Key writes the poem Defense for Fort McHenry after witnessing the Battle of Baltimore during the War of 1812. This later became known as the Star-Spangled Banner.
Now, it should be known that the Star-Spangled Banner that has become our national anthem is actually just one stanza of the poem. The poem itself is 4 stanzas long and was accompanied by music from an already popular song called To Anacreon in Heaven.
While the Star-Spangled Banner was popular and Union troops sang it during the Civil War, it didn't become recognized as the United States national anthem until 1889. Even then, it was only used by the Navy.
It wasn't until 1916 when President Woodrow Wilson officiated the song as the national anthem. Even still, Congress didn't sign it into the law books until 1931. And now we're gonna sketch over to...
National Coloring Day! Coloring books have been a part of everyone's childhood. Sitting down with a box of crayons on a nice Sunday afternoon was one of the best memories that I've had as a child. So, I believe that we all owe a special thanks to the McLaughlin brothers.
In the 1880s, the McLaughlin brothers produced the Little Folks Painting Book, after feeling like art should be accessed by everyone, young and old. The brothers later joined Milton Bradley in the 1920s.
Originally, coloring books were designed to be painted before the introduction of crayons. Even after crayons were invented, coloring books could still be painted on up until the 1930s. So essentially, they just made coloring books with thicker paper so that the paint wouldn't just seep through.
That's so cool!
Yeah, I wish they would do them more like that now, where it's just higher quality. I also feel like a lot more people would pick up painting if they had coloring books that were for painting.
Yeah, and if they do have them, they're so expensive because they're specialty.
That was just called a coloring book back then. But you sell out to Milton Bradley, and 10 years later, you go to the thin sheets.
So, make yourself a hoagie, paint or draw a new picture, and take pride in the history of your national anthem on this day.
Today of all days.
Today of all days.
And we will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.